1. I count to 3 for my kids, but that was pretty good. My name is Lindsay Ruck, and it is my pleasure to welcome you both in person and via live stream. Let's give a wave to the live streamers. Yes. To the 4th annual Nova Scotia Book Awards ceremony. Yes. We are gathered in Jabuktuk, part of Mi'kma'ki, the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. We recognize the peace and friendship treaties signed between the British Crown and the Mi'kmaq from 1760 to 1769. We are treaty people, and we have rights and responsibilities as Mi'kmaq and settlers alike. We also recognize that African Nova Scotians are a distinct people whose historic and histories, legacies, and contributions have enriched that part of Mi'kma'ki known as Nova Scotia for over 400 years. We are privileged to have Brian Knockwood here to perform a traditional welcome. Brian is one of the founders of the Eastern Eagle Singers, a contemporary Mi'kmaq drum group based out of Sipekanekatik First Nation, of which he is a member. Please welcome Brian.
She was close, it's Sipekanekati. Almost. But thank you very much for inviting me here today to help open up this glorious event. It's an honor and privilege to be here to open it up in our traditional Mi'kmaq way. This is our, like what the land acknowledgement said, this is the unceded territory of my ancestors. So it makes me proud to be able to do this and to sing in my own language. I'm going to be opening up with the Mi'kmaq honor song. Some of you may have heard it, most of you may have heard it. But the Mi'kmaq honor song, it's a very strong and powerful song. It came to us in, I think it was the early 1980s, at a time when the Mi'kmaq people of the land were really struggling, had a hard time, especially finding identity with who we were and where we came from. And so the words of the Mi'kmaq honor song, what the words basically say is that be proud of who you are and be proud of where you come from. Is let's get together and honor one another, and we are surely getting together tonight and doing that. And let's live in the way that the Creator has put us here on Mother Earth, and with the intention as helping one another. And so that's pretty well what the Mi'kmaq honor song is saying. And so when I sing this song, I ask of you to pray to the Creator in your own way. Pray to the Creator from your heart with genuine words, with good intentions, because there's no right or wrong way to pray if it comes from your heart with good intentions. And because a lot of us are here today, a lot of us left some families behind. Some of you guys have traveled. Some of you may not be going home tonight. So just ask the Creator to watch over our families. Ask the Creator for a safe trip home tonight. Thank the Creator for this beautiful evening we have here today. And at the same time, think about the awards that we're doing tonight, our book awards. We have many winners. I'm not familiar with the book award thing, but I'm thinking that there's probably been other people nominated. But I'm sure everybody who's been nominated, or those who write books in this province or in this world, they have so much to tell about their stories. And so even though some may not be getting an award tonight, everybody should be honored. So think about those who may not be here tonight or receiving an award. It's amazing. Like I'm not a big reader. I love movies, but there are so many stories to be told, especially truthful stories that aren't told and that aren't heard. Because I have one of my aunts. I don't know if you recognize her. Isabel Tony Shea, she wrote that book about maybe 30 years ago or so, Into the Depths. And it was one of the first books about the truth about the Indian residential schools in Canada. And so I always think about the book. And that's one book I did read. And then my other uncle, Doug Knockwood, he wrote a book. He asked me to do a preface for his book. I'm like, he invited me over to his house, and I was like, oh no, what did I do? For tea. And so he asked me to do a preface. That was such an honor. And he wrote an amazing book about his time when he grew up as a child to when he became an elder and passed away. So think about all that. There's so much we can be thankful for and grateful for. And that's what the Mi'kmaq Honor Song is all about. It's just not a song for the Mi'kmaq. It's a song for everyone. And that's what these type of awards are for. So I'm going to sing this song for you. And out of respect, if you can and are able, I'm going to ask you to please stand to honor the Mi'kmaq Honor Song and to honor all those here. Well, Alan, thank you. And if you have a problem standing, that's okay. You don't have to stand. It's I know you're doing it out of respect. Thank you. Getting me dead on the next, don't tell ya no dig. Nigga Mark Stone, game away down edge. Getting me dead on the next, don't wanna vex so dig. Nigga Mark Stone, gave up no model in edge, gave up no model in edge, yes, so delegalo, say, ola, sit, gamok, hey, 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 So I hope everyone has a great night, wonderful evening, all that good stuff. Walalan.
Thank you so much, Brian. And fun fact, some movies started as books, so you might like books more than you think. Let's give another hand for Brian. We are also privileged to have His Honor, the Honorable Mike Savage, Lieutenant Governor of Nova Scotia, and Her Honor, Mrs. Darlene Savage, in attendance this evening. His Honor has a long history with the Dartmouth Book Awards and hosted the inaugural Nova Scotia Book Awards ceremony. And I heard the MC was pretty good that year too, eh? It is always a pleasure to have his participation in our celebration. Welcome, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Bonjour à tous. Gray, Jalazi, Welly Exidbu. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. I think I don't know if I've been to every one of these. I'm not talking about the 4 years that we're celebrating tonight, but going back to 1989, Cox, was it? Huh? 90? Who said that? Oh, Thompson, David. Thank you very much. The only difference is now I have somebody in uniform that brings my notes to the... I used to watch Arthur and Patsy and say, I got to get me one of those. So, Claudia, you never know. A couple of terms as Premier, you might want to settle in as Lieutenant Governor. It is a pleasure to be here. Claudia Chender, Leader of the Opposition, Sue LeBlanc, Lisa Lachance is here. Any other elected representatives? Anybody that wants to be elected? Welcome. Award recipients, distinguished guests, ladies, gentlemen, and friends. It is a pleasure to join you tonight for the 2025 Nova Scotia Book Awards. As the King's representative in Nova Scotia, I'm happy to celebrate the power of the written word and those who bring it to life. C'est un plaisir pour Darlene et moi de me joindre à vous pour cette soirée spéciale. À titre de représentant du roi Nouvelle-Écosse, je suis heureux de célébrer le pouvoir de l'écrit et les personnes qui lui donnent vie. These Nova Scotia Book Awards affirm the value of writing as both an art and a vital force in public life. The works recognized tonight demonstrate the depth and diversity of experiences across the province. We see the curiosity and the craft of our writers and the commitment of our publishers, editors, and booksellers who together ensure that voices are heard and that short stories are shared. As LG, I have the privilege of meeting Nova Scotians from every walk of life, and I am always amazed at how the stories connect us, how they spark imagination, preserve histories, and help communities find common ground. We live in a very dynamic world, especially now, and we are continually called upon to adapt to new technologies. But the written word remains one of our most powerful tools for understanding who we are. And of course, this is meaningful to me, to my sister Sheila, who's been involved in the Book Awards since 1951 or something like that. 30 years before they were created. You know, my parents believed in the importance of encouraging new voices. I mean, I remember my father at the first Dartmouth Book Awards so carried away, he said, I love writers. And he wasn't a man given to uncontrolled bouts of passion. What we really love is the entire book industry. It's possible that there are other industries that are more lucrative than publishing in Atlantic Canada, but nothing that's more important. So my parents' legacy continues through the Margaret and John Savage First Book Awards for fiction and nonfiction. I want to give special thanks to Davy Thompson, who knew the year that this started, which was 5 years before he was born, in 1990. So David corrals people like the Savage family to say, you know, you're sponsoring, can you get your checks in and send them to the Weed Man? And no, it doesn't go toward your Weed Man account. This is for the John and Margaret Savage First Book Award. We're happy to do it. We're very honored to be able to still have that connection. And the very first, by the way, the very first John and Margaret Savage Book Awards were held when, Sheila? The day of Dad's funeral. You and I went over. Yeah. It was May the 17th, 2003. So we're happy that this continues today. Celebrating talent and reminding us that every accomplished writer once started with a single manuscript, a single idea, and the belief that words can make a difference. So tonight, to all the nominees, the award recipients, and all of you, congratulations on your accomplishments. It takes immense courage and discipline to write, to shape thoughts into language, and to offer something deeply personal to the world. Thank you for your dedication, the creativity, and the vision that you bring to your craft. I want to thank the Society for the Nova Scotia Book Awards. Do any of you know Joan McMullen? Like people like that who've been working at this for so many years as well. I want to thank all those folks who've been doing this. I'm sitting with the incoming czar, and I wish you the very best as you take this on as well. These awards are really important. I want to thank the Writers' Federation of Nova Scotia for their amazing contributions to the literary community. Thank you to the ongoing efforts of jury members, sponsors, volunteers, and all who make this important evening possible. Thank you for developing and nurturing the writing community in Nova Scotia. You know, the power of the written word, last year, many of you knew Ron Stewart, and his book is one of the books nominated tonight. And it came out just shortly before he died. And what a gift to the world that book is. If you knew Ron Stewart, or if you didn't, when you read it, you would think you knew him. And that's not to diminish the people who are up against that book tonight in the nominations, but that's the power of books. It was such an incredible read, and more importantly than that, it was something that came out before he passed away, and meant a lot to those who knew him. And I think it shows just how important. Darlene knows I've had this theory that everybody over the age of 50 should have a book written about them. Whether it's published or not, they should have a book written about them, because we need, we talk about the land of the Mi'kmaq and the ongoing history, the oral history that's passed down, and it needs to be written as well. That's very important. I also want to just say thank you to the folks at Brightwood. They're very generous pourers of wine. I don't know if you've noticed that tonight for this occasion, but I want to thank them. I've spent a lot of time here at Brightwood, but one of my favorite days was the day when Lindsay Ruck launched the book about my father, Against the Grain. Against the Grain. It was a book about bread. It was very, very good. No, it wasn't bread, but it was Against the Grain. And Lindsay, it's a pleasure to see you and continue doing the great work that you're doing. Thank you to everybody who's involved in promoting books here in Atlantic Canada. Merci beaucoup. Walalia.
Thank you, Your Honor. And as you heard, we're also delighted to have several elected officials and other dignitaries in attendance this evening. So thank you all for joining us. The Society for the Nova Scotia Book Awards is very grateful to have partnered with Support for Culture for our annual celebration. I want you to take a look at the screen, because here's a short video that showcases the kind of support they provide to the cultural sector.
With my parents, our cultural upbringing was quite strong. I was interested in the mixing of patterns and the symbolism behind the patterns. I want my art to evoke joy, even sometimes when the topic isn't so joyful. Thanks to Support for Culture, artists can continue working to care for the community.
We have a special evening planned for you. We'll be presenting 6 awards for books written by Nova Scotian authors. In addition to the award presentations, we have 2 fundraising activities on the go this evening. First, there is a table by the entrance where we're holding a brown bag book sale. Ladies with the brown bags, can we give a wave? There they are. Yes, so each bag contains 3 books available for $10 per bag. That is a smoking deal. Each bag contains 3 books, and the proceeds will be split between the Dartmouth Book Awards Committee and Literacy Nova Scotia, who since 1992 has been supporting the literacy community by working to ensure that all Nova Scotians have equal access to quality literacy, essential skills, and lifelong learning opportunities. Also, our friends at the Dartmouth Book Awards Committee are holding a 50-50 draw. Who doesn't love a 50-50, right? It's always a good deal. Since their inception in 1988, the Dartmouth Book Awards Committee has raised funds for its awards through the private sponsorship of individuals and businesses in our community. All the funds raised go toward the cash prize received by the winners of the Dartmouth Book Awards, which make up 4 of the 6 Nova Scotia Book Awards this evening. Over the years, the DBA committee has been fortunate to have long-standing sponsorships, which allowed them to expand from the original 2 awards to 4 awards today. Recently, the committee lost some of their sponsors and has been working hard to raise necessary funds to continue these awards. So if anyone has any interest in supporting the Dartmouth Book Awards in any way, please contact the chair, David Thompson. David, you can give a wave. Yes, there he is. Please talk to David. We'd be happy to speak with you. Meanwhile, your support of the 50-50 draw tonight will go toward keeping the Dartmouth Book Awards going, which is pretty important. Tickets are only $2 each for 3, no, $2 each for 1, and 3 for 5, also a great deal. And there's a secondary prize of a Dartmouth-themed gift basket, which you haven't had a chance, it's over around that corner there, which also has amazing things made by locals, which is always very important. For tonight's ceremony, we've invited the past winners and other special guests to present the outstanding authors shortlisted for each award and to announce this year's winners. Following each award announcement and brief remarks from the winners, everyone heard that? Just keep that in mind. We'll get to enjoy a short excerpt from the winning title read by actor, stage and film director, playwright, and really just an amazing human, Miss Juanita Peters. We're so grateful to have her sharing her talent for our gala this evening. All right, let's do this. Are we ready? Yes, okay. We're starting with an award that acknowledges an author's debut novel and is named for Dr. John Savage and his wife, Margaret. It was while Dr. Savage was mayor of Dartmouth in 1988 that he established the Dartmouth Book Awards. Here to present the 2025 Margaret and John Savage First Book Award for Fiction is author Amy Spurway, who won this award in 2020 for her debut novel, Crow. And just this morning, Amy kindly agreed to step in for last year's winner, Michelle Wombolt, author of Birth Road, who woke up with an illness and regretfully had to cancel. So we're thinking about you, Michelle. We hope you're okay. Please welcome Amy.
Good evening, everyone. I'm delighted to be here to present the nominees and the award for the Margaret and John Savage First Book Award, Fiction. The nominees are Jessica Isles, The Majestic Sisters, from Nimbus Publishing and Vagrant Press. Sean Lawler, Boom Road, Galleon Books. Susan LeBlanc, The Nowhere Places, from Nimbus Publishing and Vagrant Press. About the Majestic Sisters, the jury wrote, Jessica Isles takes you on a journey to a time when going to the theater was an event. Old Hollywood glamour is the backdrop, setting the stage for the sisters' story. Chapters are called scenes, named with a movie title of the day, as well as the stars of the show. A story of love found and lost, of sisters lost and then found, and of the beautiful theater that brings everyone together, a joy to read. Congratulations, Jessica. Here's what the jury had to say about the second nominee. In Boom Road, Sean Lawler invites us to experience what it is like to be rooted in rural living. His story depicts hard work, loyalty to friends and family, substance abuse, stagnant employment, gender roles, and the impact of surprise wealth. Boom Road gives us a chance to apply an empathetic lens as we are drawn into the roller coaster lives of the main character's friends and work colleagues. Settle in and get ready for surprises. Kudos, Sean. And of the Nowhere Places by Susan LeBlanc, one juror said they loved how the main characters, Janet and Lulu, have their own standalone stories, and said Janet's dedication to family without regard for herself is both heroic and tragic. Lulu's coming-of-age story made me have an out-loud conversation with her. The juror commended LeBlanc for the masterful way she entwines the parallel storylines. Congrats, Susan. And the winner of the 2025 John and Margaret Savage First Book Award for Fiction is Susan LeBlanc for The Nowhere Places from Nimbus Publishing and Vagrant Press.
Wow, thank you very much to the judges. A little overwhelmed. I want to thank all the wonderful people at Nimbus Publishing. Whitney Moran, wonderful editor. She created that beautiful cover. Penelope Jackson was my champion. And my husband, Rob, my biggest supporter. So many people contribute to something like this. I did an Alistair MacLeod mentorship, had a wonderful mentor, Rebecca Babcock, and thank you very much. This is very encouraging. Thank you.
Congratulations, Susan. And we're delighted to have Juanita Peters here to read an excerpt from Susan's book. Please welcome Juanita.
Thank you, and thank you, Susan. First, I want to say I love a room full of writers. And congratulations to everybody, not just the winners tonight, but the people who have completed the work. We know how, look, I'm a film writer, and it takes 8 to 10 years to get it off the ground. So you can imagine what it's like for someone writing a book as well. I'm very happy for all of you, and I'm especially pleased because these are all Atlantic writers. That's a huge collection. It's very exciting. I'm going to read an excerpt from The Nowhere Place by Susan LeBlanc, winner of the Margaret and John Savage First Book Award of Fiction. Lulu had been exploring the nowhere places, strips of land on the fringes of the neighborhood, forgotten or ignored, mostly nameless. She'll find a beer bottle with a faded label, one sock, unexpected wildflowers. She remembers the spring day as a kid. She gave up her mother a fistful of dandelions, healthy blooms that bled a clear, sticky sap over her hands as she broke their fat stems. Their friend's backyard, awash in yellow, where she gathered a bouquet, was the most magical place she'd ever seen. Mum laughed. "They're just weeds, Lou," she said. Today, she walks over the train tracks and down to a dusty spot with a view of the city dump and harbor basin beyond. Africville, an old black community, sat on the shore somewhere around here until the government moved out the people and tore it down not so long ago. Dad says the city put all the nasty stuff, a prison, a dump, an incinerator, an abattoir, in the North End, where black people and poor Catholics lived. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you, Anita. We have a number of double nominees on this year's award shortlist. For tonight's award, Susan was not only nominated for the Savage Fiction Award, but is also up for the Dartmouth Book Award for Fiction. And Martin Bauman, also a first-time author, is up for our next award, as well as the Evelyn Richardson Nonfiction Award. So let's take a moment right now to congratulate all of our nominees. Next up is the Margaret and John Savage First Book Award for Nonfiction. And here to present it is Heather Fagan, who was nominated for this award last year for her book, Gutsy, which if you haven't read it yet, I strongly suggest that you do. It's excellent. Please welcome Heather.
Hi, everyone. The nominees for the 2025 Margaret and John Savage First Book Award Nonfiction are Martin Bauman, Hell of a Ride, Chasing Home and Survival on a Bicycle Adventure Across Canada, Pottersfield Press. B. Stanton, Atlantic Ghosts, Tales from the Haunted Coast, Nimbus Publishing. And Dr. Ron Stewart with Jim Meek, Treat Them Where They Lie, Pioneering a Revolution in Modern Emergency Medicine, Nimbus Publishing. Here's the jury citation for Hell of a Ride by Martin Bauman. From the rainy streets of Vancouver to the hills of St. John's, Bauman's vivid, descriptive writing is a love letter to the Canadian landscape. Following the example of Canadian heroes Terry Fox and Rick Hansen, Bauman travels 7,000 kilometers across the country to help raise awareness for mental health. Hell of a Ride is a moving, vulnerable, and brave account of this trip. As Bauman attempts to come to grips with his own past and his family history, we meet a variety of interesting Canadians, each with their own struggles, who impact him and his journey. Bauman's experience as a journalist shines through, as interspersed throughout the book are interesting interviews and surprise facts regarding male mental health. With its flowing, descriptive narrative, this book is a must-read for all adventure-loving Canadians, and especially those who are struggling with any aspect of family, community, or their own mental health. Congratulations, Martin. Of B. Stanton's book, one juror wrote, Atlantic Ghosts, Tales from the Haunted Coast is a whimsical and not too scary tour of our region of Canada, presented in a compact, sensible, safe package. The delightful, detailed images and entertaining text make this both a perfect gift for someone who comes from away, as well as an introspective collection that reminds us of our unique characteristics on this coast. Congratulations, B. And of the last title, the jury said, in Treat Them Where They Lie, Dr. Ron Stewart shares his wonderful life and fascinating multifaceted career. Entertaining tales of his childhood as the son of a coal miner in rural Cape Breton contrast sharply with those of becoming known as Doc Hollywood, through to his being named Companion of the Order of Canada. With great humility, Dr. Stewart outlines the journey of transforming emergency medicine, first in Southern California and then beyond. Dr. Stewart's ultimate goal was to return to Nova Scotia and bring about the same changes. His political life, while not without controversy, brought about important and lasting changes. This book is the down-to-earth and compelling memoir of an important man in the history of Nova Scotia. It's one you'll want to share. Sadly, this is a posthumous nomination for Dr. Stewart. Congratulations to his co-author, Jim Meek. And the winner of the 2025 John and Margaret Savage First Book Award Nonfiction is Martin Bauman for Hell of a Ride, published by Pottersfield Press.
I was not expecting this. I don't have words. I do want to briefly really acknowledge B. Stanton and Dr. Stewart as well. I got the pleasure to meet B a couple days ago and hear her speak and read from her book, and what a joy that was. I want to thank my wife, who's here with me today, Ashley. When we met, we were graduate students, and I was still working on my first draft of this book. She's seen it from day one through to today. Thank you for your patience as you watched me work on draft after draft after draft. You know, writing is such a solitary endeavor. You're sitting in front of a page. You don't know who's going to read the thing when you're done or what's going to become of it. And to share a short list with these people is a real honor, so I appreciate that. Thank you to my publisher at Pottersfield Press, and thank you to you for supporting the arts.
I also want to thank all the publishers for, just think of all the manuscripts they have to read in the course of a year. Truly, I'm told that by my friends, I'm not a very good person to go away with, because I go with 2 or 3 books that I've been dying to get to for so long, and that's where I stick. But I am a good bartender at the end of the day, so they forgive me. Congratulations, Martin. Excerpt from Hell of a Ride by Martin Bauman, winner of the Margaret and John Savage First Book Award, Nonfiction. I'd fretted over this famous stretch of hills since the ride began. 153 kilometers of climbing a combined 3,600 feet taller than 2 Big Bens and 3 Eiffel Towers combined. It seems especially cruel and unusual punishment. The fact that I had chosen the route myself offered little in the way of comfort. I left Mycopichin to a light fog and braced myself for an onslaught. It never came. The hills were beautiful, breathtaking, as though God, the universe, Pachamama, whoever strikes your fancy, had taken a paintbrush to canvas and added each flourish, each balsam fir placed just so, each tinge of red ochre mixed into the ancient rock. The road scaled ever higher, then plummeted towards the water, each time with a better view of the Lake Superior. A more dramatic vista of the high cliffs that sheltered Old Woman Bay, or the putty soft and sun-kissed sand of Catherine Cove. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita and Heather, and congratulations again, Martin. The George Borden Writing for Change Award was created to honor those books and writers that challenge the status quo and strive to put a spotlight on groups and individuals that are oftentimes pushed to the margins. And I can tell you from personal experience that Mr. George Borden dedicated his entire life to do just that. George was the director of the Black United Front and the Black Cultural Center for Nova Scotia. He was also a historian and a beautiful writer, and he used his craft to educate and celebrate and inspire. Now, if there was an award for a last-minute presenter, it would go to our next presenter, who literally walked in that door and I grabbed her. So I'd like to invite Sylvia Paris Drummond. She is the CEO of the Delmore Buddy Day Learning Institute, up to present the George Borden Award.
I guess it'll carry okay. Thank you, Lindsay. Here are the nominees for the 2025 George Borden Writing for Change Award. Omasari H. Dryden, Got Blood to Give, Anti-Black Homophobia in Blood Donations, Fernwood Publishing. Darce Fardy, Living with Dementia, The Collected Columns of Darce Fardy, Nimbus Publishing. Brenda J. Thompson, Enslavers of the Maritimes, Moose House Publishing. The jury said, Omasari H. Dryden's Got Blood to Give eloquently tells us that ignorance is not bliss and that silence is complicit. In these tumultuous times where facts, reason, humanity, and truth are often disregarded, This urgent work is most needed. It is a reminder that anti-Black homophobia in blood donation is not a thing of the past, and that the fight for equal access to blood donation must continue. It is also a work rooted in the fight against systemic oppression. Scholarly, well-researched, and exceptionally well-written, Got Blood to Give engages us in a most meaningful and timely activism. Congratulations, Omisari. Of Darce Fardy's book, The Jury Said, living with dementia is a vulnerable journey laid bare for all. For both patients and caregivers, this example of an aware and curious mind examining himself regularly to figure out what's going on is a gift. This is a great book. Reading it gives a sense of the shape of dementia over time and how beautiful the moments of daily living can still be. Congratulations, Darce. And about Enslavers of the Maritimes, the jury said, Brenda Thompson has written a thought-provoking and troubling book about the role of enslavement in the establishment of thriving maritime communities and the acquisition of wealth. Thompson's book focuses on the period prior to the Slavery Abolition Act of 1833, a time when Maritimers of European descent actively engaged in the trading, selling, exploitation, and ownership of people of African descent. We learned that slavers were members of the clergy, military, and medical professions, as well as landowners, and many had prominent family names from Nova Scotia history. Thompson's work is well-researched, relying upon primary sources from the period, newspapers, probate records, and deeds and township records, as well as on the works of others writing in this field to bring to light a little-known aspect of our history. Congratulations, Brenda. And congratulations to all the nominees. The winner of the 2025 George Borden Writing for Change Award is, I have to say I'm excited about taking the whole envelope thing. Omisari H. Dryden for Got Blood to Give, Anti-Black Homophobia on Blood Donation, published by Fernwood Publishing.
You know, when you're a child and you're watching the Oscars and they're always like, it's just great to be nominated, and you're like, is it? But I have to say it really is great to be nominated. And because I did not expect this. Like, who else would be interested in blood donation other than this nerd? I want to thank the benevolent ancestors of my bloodline who bowed the feet of Olodumare, Modapwe, Modapai Pupo. I want to thank all the book awards, the Atlanta Book Awards, Nova Scotia Book Awards, Dartmouth Book Awards, and the Borden family. I've had the second time I've been able to accept something in the name of an African Nova Scotian person, first the Johnston Chair, and now this award with Mr. Borden. I just want to say it's such an honor to be from away and to be able to engage with such beautiful and radical and so special African Nova Scotian folks. So thank you so much for welcoming me in that way. I want to thank Fernwood Publishing and Fazila. my friends and family, my brother who annoys me, but I see their brother-sister relationships in here too, so I know you get it, and my beautiful nephew, Nathan. But mostly, I want to thank my dearest husband, neither wife nor husband, Gwen Bartleman. I love you beyond the pale. You have been in this journey, listening to a lot about blood donation, so much more than you ever wanted to know. And each and every time you always look so interested, so thank you for that. And it's Pride Month, so happy Pride, protect Black trans people. Queer lives matter, Black queer lives matter. Thank you so much, thank you. Thank you so much.
In addition to books entertaining us, this is always special too, when books bring us into a world that we otherwise have never thought about, and all the trials and tribulations of the world and things that we can do to change. So all those change makers, thank you so, so much. Excerpt from Dr. Omnishore H. Dryden's Got Blood to Give, Anti-Black Homophobia in Blood Donation, winner of the George Borden Writing for Change Award. To understand Blackness and Black queerness in Canada is to understand its strange, queered, and fraught connections with hyper-hetero-homosexuality. My entrance into discussions of blood and blood donation through my own blood stories, Black and Black queer, and trans people, and their blood is meant to disrupt the homonormality and transnormativity that positions Black and Black queer and trans people and their bodies outside of and beyond the limits of who is considered innocent and grievable. This othered reading is not conducted to embrace the current faulty premise of Black queered pathology, but instead to see what future awaits us through, rather than despite, this Black queer diasporic life, and to incite something transgressive. A Black and Black queer and trans radical articulation of blood donation social life and culture awaits us. Thank you.
Congratulations, and great shoe selection as well. Did anyone see the shoes? No, I'm regretting my shoe choice at the moment, but that's okay. It's not about me. Okay. The Maxine Tynes Nova Scotia Poetry Award, which is presented every 2 years and administered by the Writers' Federation of Nova Scotia, is the newest among the Nova Scotia Book Awards. The first Tynes Award was handed out in 2021, and here to present the award is Maxine Tynes' niece, and I didn't get to find you before to make sure I had the pronunciation right, Tandwe Nyajeka. Please welcome Tandy.
Another short person. Good evening, everyone. Bonsoir tout le monde. This year's nominees for the Maxine Tynes Nova Scotia Poetry Award are Alice Burdick, Ox Lost, Snow Deep by Anvil Press. Corey Lavender, Come One Thing Another, Gasparo Press. Anik McCaskill, Votive, Gasparo Press. Here's what the jury wrote about Ox Lost, Snow Deep. Comedy is a place where everything works out, says Alice Burdick in her latest collection, Glistens. One of our finest surrealists, Burdick masters extremely tricky form with finesse. We cascade in clever, surprising intimacies and aphorisms, feel what it is to be alive and dream. With a wink, she takes us to the edge of knowing, both seer and jester. The plan is chaos. The planet is in chaos. A cyclops is on top, lopping hope off. Stunning word and sound play. The book is a joy and a radical act in the weight of our times. It's the kind of unsettling we don't know we need. Nurture the least obvious, stronger, stranger ideas. It takes a certain sorcery to move us in a world where we don't quite have our footing, yet still thrust. Burdick gifts us with giggles, insights, and deep connection without sentimentality. Pathos, logos, ethos, fiesta. Congratulations, Alice. About Come One Thing Another, the jury says, in this visionary debut, poet Corey Lavender summons, celebrates, and stories the divergent strands of his lineage, including his African Nova Scotian ancestry, here lovingly coaxed out of generations of denial. Lavender tunes his spirit antennae to the living and the dead, the lived and the inherited. He receives the sustenance offered by music, church, gardens, animals, hunting trips, and a love-swole family Bible. Profound admiration for those who came before. Vividly emplaced in the towns, lakes, beaches, rivers, dirt roads, homesteads, and fishing grounds of Nova Scotia's South Shore, this collection crackles with graphic vernacular interwoven with the shimmer of Lavender's unique sound play and deft use of form. Ranging from the tenderly introspective to the interstellar, elegiac, prophetic, and revelatory, every page smolders and seethes with an iridescent blend of humor, grief, and exaltation. Lavender reminds the reader of the inexorable seep and influence of the past within the present. Our blood reaching out to us. Congratulations, Corey. And here's the jury's citation for the third shortlisted title. I am responsible for what happens, but if that's true, that means the beauty too, writes Anik McCaskill in Votive, an assured yet introspective collection. Here, a central voice reimagines what it means to have communion in the broadest and most imaginative sense. The Virgin Mary and Helen of Troy rub shoulders with Freddie Prinze Jr. and Sinead O'Connor, interrogating such topics as a Catholic upbringing and a Sapphic girlhood with devastatingly visceral precision. McCaskill's dynamic mastery of form is so confident and seamless that it reads like a play. This quality turns the book This quality turns the book itself into a kind of sacred text, a gorgeous and heart-rendering prayer for the space beneath our secrets. In one of the titular votive poems, McCaskill writes that she saw the light and then was swallowed by its heat. The light she uses to illuminate the subjects of this collection has this same searing, indelible quality. Congratulations, Anik. And the winner of the 2025 Maxine Tynes Nova Scotia Poetry Award is Corey Lavender, Come One Thing Another by Gaspereau Press. Hugs are appropriate. Congratulations. Congratulations. Sorry, I spelled.
Oh, no, it's okay. May I say a few words?
Yes, of course. Brief.
No,
Brief. Thank you so much. This is a real honor. Thanks to Gaspro Press, Gary and Andrew, Connie, all the rest. Thanks to my partner Jessica for doing my book cover and being there as I was wrapping up. I had the pleasure of reading just a few days ago at the Black Loyalist Heritage Center down in Birchtown, and with Sylvia Hamilton, past winner, and made sure to start my reading with one of Maxine's poems, Black Song, Nova Scotia. That was really special with Andrea Davis down there. The last poem I wrote for my book was not that long ago. It was like the winter before last. I was staying with Jessica up in Ontario for a couple months beside a frozen lake, and I wrote the last poem for my book, 40th poem, and it was sitting with Grammy Lavender's Bible, my Grammy Shirl Marguerite Lavender, sitting with Grammy Lavender's Bible on the 134th day of genocide in Gaza. And just a few days ago, they marked 600. So I just kind of wanted to say something about that. Thank you so much.
You know, you meet people in so many different circles, and you don't realize, I did not realize that you were Maxine Tynes' granddaughter. And I met Currie not too long ago. You stopped into the museum. I'm going to apologize before I read this, Currie, because I'm a black woman without rhythm, and I'm being asked to read a poem. So part of it, I think, comes from I have a hearing loss in my left ear from, I used to record rock music back in the 80s and early 90s. So I suffer it today. Excerpt from Come One Thing Another by Currie Lavender, winner of the Maxine Tynes Nova Scotia Poetry Award. Divergent strands, historical, genealogical, twig, twist, entwine like we unruly tangle. My afro morphs into lobes, continental, intentional tentacles, tectonic, subliminal. Follow up loss, close the resemblance gap, entrenched through decades of denial. This tender mane spreads a quilt of brooding cloud cover. Draped in this cape like I know what I'm up to. I brook no bullshit. No more pretending like difference. Our story doesn't matter. Should we just be white? Because who the hell cares and close enough? Because what difference does it make? We're black too? My cowl grows nonetheless. Someone said, I knew you were black, but I didn't know if you knew you were. I know, have known, take shelter in the knowledge-sensible lodgings. Some white lady grabs a fistful of my locks like my neighbor did last week. You're the one with the crazy hair. Here's a grown-ass man left with unspoken afterthoughts, shame from letting it slide. The unset strains against its restraints, the dreaded dredged up comes to fruition. The cloak of cat o' nine tails, heirloom great and grand handed down, wraps me in welcome to the family. Guess who's coming to dinner? Eldritch tendrils, fingers crook, ghostly, matriarchal. Steady tap me on the shoulder. Remind me to remember we. Thank you.
You have more rhythm than you think, Juanita. Congratulations again, Currie, and thank you, Tandy. This Nova Scotia Book Awards Gala, Mike's just fighting me, is part of the Atlantic Book Awards and Festival. Whereas we are focused on the awards only open to Nova Scotia writers, our sister organization, the Atlantic Book Awards Society, represents the books that are open to authors from all 4 Atlantic provinces. A number of this year's NSBA nominees are also up for Atlantic Book Awards, including Anik McCaskill, whose book Votive is also nominated for the J.M. Abraham Atlantic Poetry Award. Anique and fellow Times nominee Alice Burdick are taking part in an event on Wednesday night at the Carlton, great venue, in Halifax as part of the Atlantic Book Awards and Festival. And the winners of the ABAs will be announced at a gala ceremony at Paul O'Regan Hall at Halifax Central Library this Thursday night. And tickets for the ABA Gala are on sale at atlanticbookawards.ca, and it will also be live streamed just like tonight. It's now my pleasure to invite Carol Bruno to present the Dartmouth Book Award for Fiction. Carol, once again, kindly agreed to step in at the 11th hour for last year's winner, Amanda Peters, who had to deal with a medical emergency today. So Amanda, we're thinking of you. We hope everything is okay. Amanda won this award last year for her debut novel, The Berry Pickers, and Carol has won it numerous times. Most recently in 2019 for A Circle on the Surface. Her most recent book, Threshold, is shortlisted for this year's Thomas Riddell Atlantic Fiction Award. Please welcome Carol.
Good evening, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here, even at the last minute, and a tremendous honor to present the Dartmouth Book Award for Fiction, which really has a warm place in my heart. It really does. Without blabbering on anymore, the nominees for the 2025 Dartmouth Book Award for Fiction are Tammy Armstrong, Pearly Everlasting, HarperCollins, Canada. Charlene Carr, We Rip the World Apart, HarperCollins, Canada. And Susan LeBlanc, The Nowhere Places, Nimbus Publishing and Vagrant Press. The jury opens its citation for Pearly Everlasting with a quote from the novel. Some might say a baby and a bear cub have no business living together, but I can assure you, seeing the world through our eyes might change your mind. The jury goes on to say, Pearly's unique view of the world draws us in and challenges our ideas of family and kinship, opening our hearts to new possibilities. Pearly will win you over with her scrappy personality, resilient nature, and unwavering loyalty. A fiercely original novel, Pearly Everlasting deeply resonates, clinging to your consciousness and tugging at your heart. Tammy Armstrong's skillful use of language fills the senses, the smell of the forest, the taste of the camp food, the bitter cold of a winter night, and the unshakable bond between a girl and her bear. Congratulations, Tammy. About the second nominee, the jury says, Charlene Carr writes with a passionate, purposeful, and unapologetic voice. In We Rip the World Apart, she speaks truth to power as she sheds a glaring light upon the systemic racism that plagues our world. This gut-wrenching novel of multi-generational interconnectedness chronicles the magnitude of the abuse, inhumanity, violence, and trauma directed toward people simply because of the color of their skin. The lives of her characters are not fictional. Raw realism is reflected on every page. The long-lasting effect of the grief and loss that the family at the center of the novel has been forced to endure is heartbreaking. This is a masterful work. Congratulations, Charlene. And about the final nominee, the jury wrote, set in the north end of Halifax during the late 70s, early 80s, The Nowhere Places is original and absorbing and filled with vivid descriptions. Its themes of girlhood, womanhood, and shame tug at the heart. LeBlanc enlivens her many standout characters with compassion and understanding, bringing tender attentiveness to their vulnerabilities. They move in and out of focus, revealing their own stories. We glimpse snapshots of their lives built on secrets, anger, and the repercussions of choices, the good, the bad, the planned, and the impulsive. These are just ordinary people dealing with life's challenges in all its messiness. The Nowhere Places is a powerful work of literary fiction, a must-read for its clarity of heart and heartbreak, and the many human ways we can move through life's dark places to a place of hope and healing. Congratulations, Susan. The scary part. Whoa. And the winner of the 2025 Dartmouth Book Award for Fiction is Charlene Carr for We Rip the World Apart.
I'm a little taller. Thank you so much. It has been such an honor to be nominated for the Dartmouth Book Awards, to have We Rip the World Apart chosen from the wonderful novels published in Nova Scotia the past year, and have stood beside the two other nominated books. I've read Sue's novel, which was tender and beautiful and so full of life, and I've heard such wonderful things about Tammy's. So I imagine it must have been a very hard job for the juror to choose just one. And I'm so thankful to all the people who've contributed to We Rip the World Apart being in the world, from my agent to publishers, all the people who either wrote works that contributed to my research, and the Black authors especially who came before me and paved the way, and the people who took time to help personally educate me about many of the topics that I talked about in this book. My children are coming up. We Rip the World Apart is about so many things, some very controversial, some very close to my heart. And when I set out to write this book, in addition to creating a captivating read, my goal was to have it pose questions. And from what I've heard from readers, both in reviews and at book clubs, it's done just that. Enabled people to look outside of their own views, their own experience, or sometimes to see another way a person may think about the world or something similar to what's happened to them. And I believe that's what literature is for, to have us consider the world in ways either vastly or slightly different from the way we may have considered it before, to step into someone else's shoes and allow a safe space to grow, or perhaps put words to feelings or thoughts we've never before verbalized, to ask questions. So to me, the honor of receiving this award is an affirmation that my book has meant something to the jurors, and that they see it as a book that has the potential to mean something to a much larger audience. So to the jurors and everyone involved in maintaining, running, and publicizing the Nova Scotia Book Awards and the Atlantic Book Awards Festival, thank you. It means so much.
I think Charlene should also get the award for the best support team. That's cool. I just met Charlene actually about a month ago when she was reading this book at the Cole Harbour Library, and she was newly introduced to me as a new writer in the region, so very, very proud. Okay, excerpt from We Ripped the World Apart by Charlene Carr, winner of the Dartmouth Book Award for Fiction. For the last decade, I've been defined as black, or black but not quite, as if the white in me was an absence of what should have been but wasn't, as if I held on my shoulders the weighted responsibility of trying to make sense of it all. I stared at those words, smoothing my fingers over the letters, mixed race, and saw the freedom to let go of the need to define myself by one identity over another, one race. I'm not a black woman, exactly. Not a white one, certainly. Both and neither. Like a bridge, 1 foot planted on each side, able to exist in both worlds, in some capacity at least, cross lines that have no need of even being there. But who am I, regardless? Thank you.
Thank you, Anita, and congratulations again, Charlene. You have 2 very excited girls back there. You win for cutest moment of the night, too. Charlene's novel is also nominated for the prestigious Thomas Riddell Atlantic Fiction Award at $30,000. The Riddell is, right? Yeah, let's clap for that. The Riddell is one of the largest literary prizes in the country, and the winner will be announced at the Atlantic Book Awards Gala on Thursday night. 3 of this evening's fiction nominees, Charlene Carr, Jessica Isle, and Susan LeBlanc, as well as some ABA nominees, including Carol and fellow Nova Scotia author Leslie Crew, are participating in another festival event. If you haven't gotten your fill yet, there's lots more to come. This is called the Fiction Fete, and it is a showcase of readings taking place Wednesday night at the Chester Playhouse. And details for all of the festival events can be found at atlanticbookawards.ca. The time has come for the final award of the evening, the Evelyn Richardson Nonfiction Award, and it is named for the Governor General's award-winning author of We Keep a Light, and is administered by the Writers' Federation of Nova Scotia. We're delighted to have last year's winner, Karen Pynchon, here to present the award. And Karen won for her book, Kings of Their Own Ocean, which also won the 2024 Margaret and John Savage First Book Award Nonfiction. So please welcome Karen.
There we go. What a joy it is to be here tonight, and I promise I won't cry this time. The nominees for the 2025 Evelyn Richardson Nonfiction Award are Martin Bauman, Hell of a Ride, Chasing Home and Survival on a Bicycle Adventure Across Canada, Pottersfield Press. Andrea Currie, Finding Otipemisiwak, The People Who Own Themselves, Arsenal Pulp Press. And finally, Dean Jobb, A Gentleman and a Thief, The Daring Jewel Heist of a Jazz Age Rogue, HarperCollins, Canada. Here are the jury citations. About Martin Bauman's book, the jury wrote, Hell of a Ride is a powerful and introspective memoir that soars even in its darkest moments. Taking up important issues of male depression and abuse, it is a reflective meditation on loss, solitude, family, and community. Beautifully paced, Bauman's memoir is written with intimacy and vulnerability, but also with humor and a light touch. In its full-hearted descriptions of the people and places he encounters along his bicycle journey from Vancouver to St. John's, Hell of a Ride is also a love letter to the varied landscapes and voices that make up this place now called Canada. Congratulations, Martin. About the second nominee, the jury said, To Canada's shame, Indigenous stories of the intergenerational trauma, displacement, and abuse of the 60s scoop will be with us for a long time. Admirably, Andrea Currie's Finding Otipemisiwak is a survivor's story celebrating blood memory and the refilling of troubled hearts. This physician heal thyself narrative, written in a hybrid form that combines essays, fragments, and poems, lovingly and compellingly recounts Currie's transformation from the displacements of forced adoption to her becoming a professional psychotherapist working in Indigenous mental health, while simultaneously rediscovering her Otipemisiwak, the people who own themselves, as a Plains Cree word calls the Métis. Congratulations, Andrea. And finally, the Richardson jury found Dean Jobb's A Gentleman and a Thief, the daring jewel heist of a jazz-age rogue, to be a masterful blend of true crime and historical storytelling. With gripping suspense and impeccable narrative skill, Jobb brings the almost unbelievable exploits of Arthur Berry to life. The author's meticulous research enriches this nonfiction book, helping Jobb paint a vivid portrait of an era and a life. Jobb balances fast-paced storytelling, cliffhangers, and rich historical detail to craft a compelling portrait of a master thief whose charm and audacity resonate deeply in our present times. Congratulations, Dean. And the winner of the 2025 Evelyn Richardson Nonfiction Award is Andrea Currie for Finding Otipemisiwak, The People Who Own Themselves, published by Arsenal Pulp Press.
Wow. I just want to say how lovely it is to be here in this room, in this community of writers and readers and storytellers of all kinds, and all the people that help birth our books into the world and get them into the hands of readers. Just feel such gratitude, and I want to honor and acknowledge everyone for all the roles we play. And yeah. And yeah, for me, some of the people that I need to thank are all the Indigenous writers who have inspired me, some of whom really rolled up their sleeves and were early readers and gave me great notes. And those include Alicia Elliott, Charlene Jodrey, Amanda Peters, and Katerina Vermette. And of course, my agent, Samantha Haywood, and all the great people at Arsenal Pulp Press, Brian and Catherine and Jasmine and the whole wonderful team there. I wrote Finding Otipemisiwak to contribute to and engage in conversations about the 60 scoop, and I couldn't be more pleased at all the ways that that's happening. And finally, I just want to give a shout out to my brother Rob in the spirit world and my son Rowan, who is here with me tonight, for being on this healing journey with me. Marcy Miigwech. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. Writers are brave. They go places that most of us don't want to go, don't know how to go. And if you go there, how do you get back sometimes? So I want to thank you very much for taking that journey, for all of you taking the journey that you have so far. Excerpt, Finding Otipemisiwak by Andrea Currie, winner of the Evelyn Richardson Nonfiction Award. My birth family, like so many families, contains a mix of love and pain, of strong bonds and broken relationships. The summer I met my family for the first time, a couple of my siblings who lived in Winnipeg were not in touch with our mother. The first day with Mama, it was clear to me that she was nervous that I would be meeting my sister who lived in Winnipeg. She hinted that I would be told things about her that were not very nice. That was the closest she ever came to acknowledging her failings as a mother when my oldest 5 siblings were just little kids. I could see that there were family stories that my mother would never tell me because she wanted me to have a good opinion of her, and that she was worried my siblings would tell me these stories. I told Mama what I told them all. I had missed out on knowing my family for close to half my life, and I wanted to meet and get to know them on my own terms. Thank you.
We did it. Congratulations to all of the nominees for the 2025 Nova Scotia Book Awards, and a huge congratulations to the winners. Let's give them a hand again. Okay, I still have 2 pages, so you're not going anywhere yet. Just relax. I hope you will all stay for the post-show reception and that you'll each purchase an armload of these great books from our friends at King's Co-op Bookstore. But first, I have a few thank yous. The Society for the Nova Scotia Book Awards is very grateful to Support for Culture and the University of King's College for their sponsorship. Thanks also to our official bookseller, King's Co-op Bookstore. Let's give them a hand. Yes. Thank you to the 6 sets of jurors who read the submitted books and chose the shortlists and winners, which is no easy feat. And every single one of those write-ups was incredibly well done. So there's some writers in there as well, for sure. So thank you to them. Thanks to the presenters and to our reader, Miss Juanita Peters. And many thanks as well to our 2 ASL interpreters, Sydney Pakosh and Julia Roy. And thank you so much to the live stream team of Mark Pineo and Paul Robinson. And the special fused glass souvenir awards, any of the winners, maybe just hold one up. I don't know if everyone got to see them, but they're really, really beautiful. Martin has it right there. There it is. Okay, really beautiful. They were made by Heather Elms Wood. And live music this evening is provided by harpist Ellen Gibling and fiddle player Sarah Frank. So let's also give them a round of applause. This annual celebration is produced by the volunteer board of the Nonprofit Society for the Nova Scotia Book Awards, and a lot of work goes into these awards. We want to just take a moment to remember one of the founding board members, Tanya Harrison, who sadly passed away in December. She was a resident of Dartmouth and was head librarian for both the Nova Scotia College of Art and Design and for Mount St. Vincent University, and was an enthusiastic supporter of the Nova Scotia Book Awards. Her smile and her energy brightened any room, and we are so grateful for her contribution to our organization. So thank you so much for coming and supporting local books and authors. Don't forget to buy some brown bag books. There's still lots of bags over there, so there's lots of time to support the Dartmouth Book Awards Committee and Literacy Nova Scotia. $10 for 3 books. You will not find a better deal. It's amazing. And 50/50 tickets will be available for another 15 minutes or so. It says or so maybe there's some wiggle room. Just $2 for 1 and 3 for 5, with proceeds going to the Dartmouth Book Awards to support future award winners. And the winning ticket will be drawn in 15 minutes or so. So just around that time. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed your evening, and please get home safe.